Hello, my trusty YouTube fans and followers. Bandit here from Model Railroad Talk, your Model Railroad only podcast. I am working on, we've talked about this on our podcast a little bit about, not really a lot, but we've touched on it about what kind of standards do you have for your railroad? And it's something that has stuck with me for years and years and years. Long time ago, when I got back into model railroading back early 2000s, I had joined a model railroad club, and they had standards for their cars, locomotives. They had to have a certain wheel set, certain couplers. While there is certain, like a KD, coupler height gauge, they had their standard. I honestly don't remember. It may have been the KD coupler height gauge for, they may have had them high or short. I don't know. But they had standards for their railroad. So any rail car, locomotive, anything like that that's hitting the railroad will have the same, basically standards. That way, that kind of ensures continuity between all your cars and locomotives, and that everything's going to work. And it just helps ensure also that less chance of having derailments and problems. If everything is at least on the one standard, you can kind of at least eliminate, okay, well, is it the wheels, or is it the couplers, or is it the trucks, or is it height? If you can develop a standard for your railroad, and that may be whatever, it is your railroad, then you can at least, like I said, eliminate that out. Like mine requires, or not requires, but like I'm running Intermountain Railway wheel sets, metal wheel sets. Once I run out of them, I'm probably going to go to KD, which they're the same. I just don't have access to the KD as much, or as much as I do the, I don't have access to the Intermountain as much as I do the KD. So I'll be switching to KD when I run out of metal wheel sets. But like mine, minimum KD number 5 couplers, but like all my cars soon here will be KD number 58s. I like the way they look. I'm also running the scale shelf couplers on some cars. That's more or less just kind of one of them things that I see them on the prototype. I know, like, not that far from my work, not even a mile down the road, there's a big main line for, I believe it's CP. But I'll sit there because the train will be going by sometimes, and I'll watch it. And even on my way home, there's a CP yard. I sometimes get stuck watching trains. And I'm noticing more and more, like, the shelf couplers are being used on different kinds of rail cars outside of like tank cars and like coil cars and stuff like that. I've been seeing them on like one end of, a box car or something. So anyways, this video is to, I guess, kind of let you see, what I do here. I have 3 more of these, in previous videos that, these are getting converted over to Iowa Eastern Railroad, eventually paint and stuff like that. But I figured I would, most people have a good idea of how to do this. But in case you are new to this and you don't have, you never really thought about it, and you're like, well, maybe I should look into doing standards, changing my wheel sets, my couplers, what have you, then this video may be for you. So for starters, the basic tools that I use for most cars, not all, but most, are, for starters, I use just some real small flat flat blade and Phillips blade screwdriver for like popping the covers off the journal boxes to get the couplers out. I do have one of these. It's from KD. It's a screw grab. So like, I don't necessarily use it to pull the screws out, but I'll put them on the top to get them started in there. Not a necessity, but it does help. There again, I have a set of tweezers. I particularly like this style, just in case. And then once again, these are not required to do this, but it does help. These are from KD. They're actually coupler tweezers, and they are designed to it'll focus for me. If I can get it to work here. Sorry, folks. There we go. They're designed to hold the coupler for you a little easier. So anyways, I normally run the Whisker one, I think they're 158s without looking. I still have the standard ones, number 58 couplers, that require the little spring. I'm going to try to get rid of those. My Whisker couplers are starting to get low on stock, so and I need to order some more, which I'm waiting till I get figured out exactly my metal wheel set order, figured out exactly what I want to order before I order. That way it's all one big order from KD. But we'll start out here with our Phillips, and we will, sometimes these, yeah, that's the right one. I have two of them, one's smaller than the other, and I have the right one. And folks, yes, I'm an old guy. I have to have my readers on. So, I mean, this is pretty simple. Most of y'all, if you already haven't done this, you can figure out how to do this. So the first thing I do is I'll take my trucks off, and you just basically kind of, with plastic trucks, you pull it from one side. So I'll show you again here. I grab kind of in the middle, I grab over here, and I just slightly pull, and then it pops out. Some people will grab here. I used to even do this, grab this to spread that. I don't like doing that. That will actually, if you're not, you take a chance of breaking the truck there, but also you can, if you don't break it, you eventually will start, you could potentially warp it. So putting the new wheel sets in is pretty simple. There's nothing special. Like I said, it doesn't matter. These are Intermountain. I use those because I've had them. I've always liked Intermountain. And then I take my NMRA gauge and check the gauge. Okay, we're good. It's probably a good idea to check your gauge of the wheels that you're putting in before you put them in. But in some of these, if they're tougher to put, I guess, to spread the trucks apart to get the wheels in. Whoa, don't do that, folks. That's a good thing. If they're too easy, that means they're going to be kind of flimsy, or they could be flimsy. All right. So anyways, we have our trucks with our metal wheel sets, new metal wheel sets, and I'll show you here real quick. So I've explained this in others. Yeah, while these are the Lifelike Proto 1000, and I think they use them on 2000 as well. They're Series 2000. They are metal wheels. It's a plastic axle, and it's plastic ends too. So while those will work fine, those will work fine for, if you're just getting started and you want to put your focus your railroad funds on other things, they'll work fine for you. This is just a standard that I set years and years and years ago, and I've stuck with it. And also I've had the wheel sets since. If I wouldn't have had them, I would have ordered wheel sets. So, but anyways, we'll move on here. So we have the car here, and this is I actually made this cradle. I don't remember what it's from. It's just that white, not styrofoam, but plastic foam, for something was packed in it. And so these cars have, sorry about that, folks. I'm trying to get it to zoom in on this. They have, they're plastic couplers. I'm not sure exactly. It must be their own brand. I do not like them. So we are upgrading and looking at the springs. They use the same springs as the KDs do, so that's going to save me from having to use those. But like I've stated, I'm using the KD 58s. They're the scale couplers. A lot of people don't like the scale couplers. I've seen in forums that they complain about them because, oh well, which they are right to some degree. If your track work is not, I guess the best way to put it, if your track work is subpar, you may not want to go with the 58s. Or if you have any kind of issues with your track work, say you've got several spots that that car, that locomotive, or several cars and locomotives, they just likes to derail there or uncouple a lot, you may want to stick with the number 5s. I personally like the number 58s. I like the look of them. And then and you'll see here in a minute, basically I just take my little flat and I pry this journal box cover off. I guess I should have told you that. These were dirty. I don't know. It had some sort of corrosion built up on them because these are they're new, but somebody had them for a long time and they're stock, and I bought them. But anyways, I just like the 58s. I like the more scale. And once I cut the trip pin off, because I don't use the magnet, the KD magnet, uncoupling magnet, whatever you want to call it. I use sticks, you go up between the cars. But I don't know. I've always liked the 58s. I've liked the look of them. And then when I cut the trip pins off, once I do that, and once I get them painted to my railroad, which is the Iowa Eastern Railroad, which I'm sure you know, at that point in time is when I'll put in the details. I'll actually take wire and put it in for like the air hoses. And people have all said, well, if you're putting air hoses on, why are you cutting the trip pins off? That's part of the deal with those, of making them, that it makes it look real. And while yes, you're right, I don't like them because they're, again, like we've stated before, I guess I should have showed you that. I just basically this is how this little screw deal works. I'm not saying you have to get it from KD. I got it because they had it, but you go in here and it drops it in. But I, just like we talked about earlier with the number 5s or 58s, if you have track work that, I hate to use the term subpar, but if you have just those spots that it's like, you have issues with particular cars, or majority of your cars and locomotives, this is kind of the same thing where if you have just that one car that either maybe you forgot to adjust the trip pin, check it and adjust it, or it just decides, hey, I'm gonna be a butthead and catch on you and decide to drop on you. That's kind of another reason why I cut the trip pins off, and then eventually put the wire in for the air hose, because the wire, even if the wire sags, the wire's gonna not catch as easy. All right, so I take the shell off. The final thing I do is I take the shell off. NMRA weight standards are 1 ounce plus 1/2 ounce for every inch of the model. So this model is just a touch over 8 inches. So basically it boils down to, it needs basically, for argument's sake, 8 1/4 ounces. Or I'm sorry, 5 1/4 ounces. When I weighed this, and yes, I have an actual scale that is set up, designed solely for doing this. When I weighed this was shy by 3/4 of an ounce, roughly. And these little plates I've had for years. They're actually non-toxic lead alloy. They're not available anymore because unfortunately the company that I worked with a long time ago is no longer in business, and I have no access to it. And unfortunately, sad thing, which was 8 Air Shops up in Dyersville, Iowa. If any of you have ever heard of them, the owner, Howard Samarin, very, very nice older fellow. He was a good friend of mine for a long time. We did lose contact there at the end just because my life got busy. So that was my fault. When I went to go reach out to him here earlier this year, I found out the one thing I didn't want to hear. He had passed away, and his wife, who is a sweetheart, she helped him run the business. And you know, I get it. She probably doesn't want to run it anymore without him, you know, and his son doesn't want to run it, which is understandable. So I am fortunate that I have some of these weights left from my early days of model railroading when I was actually working with them on products. So that's what I use. But you can use, and once I run out of these, I've already got it in my my Amazon cart. Lead weights, sticky back on them from for cars. Amazon, I don't remember how many you get. I think they come in quarter weight or quarter ounce, I think is what I have in my deal, and they're cheap, next to nothing. So you don't need this same style of weight like I'm putting in. It's just nice because these you can actually add to like flat cars and stuff and not really notice them. But so that's it. I guess I didn't really show you the weight there very well. I'm gonna do that here real quick just to show you. Once I get this done, I'll show you the weights. I'll do the weights first. Bad me. So we're gonna come over here and I'm gonna show you, if you want. I don't know if you can see the difference here. You know what? Let's just do it this way. Be a lot easier. So this is original car. Okay. Look at the wheels. Yes, this has got whatever that gunk buildup is. Wheels and trucks. Okay. This is with the upgraded wheels and with the coupler. So I'll stack them here so you can kind of see. So the top is factory. The bottom is, you know, my standards for the railroad. There again, it's my railroad. All right. So let's zoom in here real quick. Since I talked to that whole thing about doing the weights, we'll do that first. So, like I said, I have these weights. Okay. Those, if you can see here, I'm just using Gorilla Glue, super glue gel. I really like this stuff. It's doesn't take a lot. It's got great bonding. It is a little more expensive. I do have inexpensive super glue. That's just the regular liquid. I do like the liquid for certain things, but this gel I like for doing this because it seems to hold it in place while it dries. So I just, on this particular car, I put one on either end, and this, so that I'm like sitting right there weighing this car. I'm supposed to be at 5 ounces. Okay. That being right there, I'm like, I don't even know, it's like 0.15 shy of being at 5 ounces. And my, there again, my standards for my railroad is it needs to be at minimum the NMRA standard. So I'm going to go to where I'm a little over. So I'm generally 5 1/4. This will not fit in between those two plastic pieces. Okay. And yes, I'm using the stock weight as well. You might as well. No point in reinventing the wheel. So I'm just taking my small cutters here, and this stuff that I have, this non-toxic lead alloy, is easy to cut, but I just cut a little wedge out of one side, Come up here, cutting a wedge out of that side. No point in keeping the extra. I suppose I could have thrown in for scrap metal. Darn it. Guess I'll be digging it out of the trash later. And then I just put a little strip back there. Like I said, this does not take a lot. A little bit of this stuff actually does go a long way. You get into the cheap, yeah, it's a little different. It takes a lot more. But the good super glue, it doesn't take much. But basically, I just put it on there and kind of work it around a little bit. So it kind of spreads it and gets, by spreading it a little bit like that, you get a little air built up in there too. So while we got these off, I'm actually just going to do this so I don't have to use the cradle. There again, quickly we're going to take, and this, folks, if you have everything set up like I do, I've got my wheels right here, I've got my couplers right here, and fortunately, if these springs are good like the last one where I won't need the new ones, this goes relatively quickly, especially on these cars. This is lifelike Proto 2 or Proto 1000s. Not saying they're cheap cars, but they don't have the detail that the Proto 2000s have. Let's just put it that way. So, and I'm fine with that. I'm one of those that I don't mind if the car or locomotive has a ton of detail. Just checking my gauges. But once I get my track work done and I begin the process of actually starting to operate, to start working out kinks before I do any like heavy scenery. I'll start scenicking a little bit just because, hey, I mean, I'm in between. I need to, see, just put them in. I need to do something other than what I have been doing. So, I'll start doing some scenicking, but, once I get, I guess I have other things that are priority to me right now on this railroad than worrying about doing the super detailing. But at some point, yes, I will come along here with these shells and I'll cut off the stirrups and I'll trim this off here and I'll actually put in hand wire, bend my own wire, which I do. That's just me. That's my standards. Not cutting down anybody that doesn't do that. It's your railroad. Do it how you like, but there again, it goes back to just like doing this. I'm not going to sit there and tell anybody that they're making a mistake or that their railroad's not going to run well if they don't do metal wheels and upgrade their couplers. And because, this is based off of my experiences. You might, while I like laying, I don't mind laying track, and I enjoy it to a certain extent, but it's also really not my most favorite thing to do. There's other facets of the hobby that I'd much rather be doing than laying track. I mean, if I had a way to be able to, if I had friends that I could just say, okay, here's my track plan. Please come over and you lay the track. I'll do, the wiring or whatever. I would do that. I would so let somebody come over and lay my track for me. But I don't have that, which is fine. And so like I said, I've got priorities elsewhere before I worry about doing super detailing of my cars and locomotives. So as one of my FP45 Santa Fe FP45s, it's an Athearn blue box, and I don't know why I did it. It was my first locomotive that I bought since getting back into the hobby. And I was kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, hey, let's do that. I got my decoder installed. I got it programmed, getting back into it, refreshing my memory, all that good stuff. Oh, heck yeah, let's do this. And looking back on it now, and it's like, okay, I wish I would have waited to do the hand grips, because what I thought was going to be a good running locomotive, which it does run well doing my normal typical stuff that I do, it's really not the best either. It runs worse than the other one does. So doing those already, it makes it to where you have to be careful with the detail parts you put on already. So thank you for watching. I hope it was somewhat entertaining. Like and subscribe, please. I do this for you guys. I do enjoy doing the videos, but this is for you guys. The main reason I do it. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here doing it myself, knocking stuff out. So come in one of the upcoming videos, if you look right back here, I'm going to be going over that. That is a 187 scale. Basically, it's got a grapple and a magnet on it. I ordered it in for my steel or my scrap facility, which is going to be basically back there where that's at. Because the one I'm loosely modeling, they use that style of excavator, cranes, whatever, to load, unload, that kind of thing. So so I ordered one in so I can mess with it, kind of see. So far I like it, and I'm gonna, over the next about every 3 or 4 weeks, I'm gonna order another one, because they're about $30 a piece. But I will go through that on one of the upcoming videos for you guys, to show you. It's not a bad deal. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, check us out on our webpage, modelrailroadtalk.com. You can email us, modelrailroadtalk@gmail.com, or you go to listen to our podcast, audio podcast, on any of the platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Pandora, all that good stuff. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.